Welcome to my video where I make an awesome campfire using my Swedish Torch Cage. The cage that I built is a 1 foot tall by 5 foot long piece of half-inch square garden fencing. The fencing is curled around into a circle and then wired together to make the cage. The center section is a 1.5 inch piece of PVC pipe. I also use the PVC pipe to wrap the fencing around when I put it in my backpack. I pack the inside of the cage with chopped wood, and then on the outside I put little thin pieces and tap them in with my hand to make it a nice tight round package. Here you can see I'm flattening out the area where I'm going to make my fire and also digging a shallow trench about 2 to 3 inches deep by about 2 to 3 inches wide. This will let the air flow under the cage and up through the center and actually make the torch more like a rocket stove. Sometimes when you flip the cage over, you'll notice that the cage isn't quite as tight, so you can add extra pieces to tighten it all back up. Obviously, you'll want to remove the PVC pipe from the center and then start dropping kindling and fire starter down the center. Here you can see that I'm lighting the stove from underneath, like you would a standard rocket stove. By lighting this from underneath, it will cause the air to heat up and rise up through the hole in the center of the bundle and cause a draft, like the flue of a chimney. This helps the fire start pretty quickly. As you noticed, I just used a little bit of newspaper and some dry pine wood. It could start a lot faster if you were using cotton balls with Vaseline on them, or some fat wood, or birch bark, or any other fire starting trick you may have. As you can see, the fire starts up pretty quick, even with just using newspaper and some large wood. I kind of hurried this part of it a little bit. Had I waited a few more minutes, this wood would have been totally inflamed and would have started right up when I dropped it inside. One of the nice features about using this cage setup is that you can change the size of the ring just by how much you wrap the wire fence up. So you can go anywhere from a 6-inch circle to an 18, almost 20-inch circle. Obviously, the larger the circle, the longer your fire will be. At this point, the fire has been going for between 20 minutes and a half of an hour. You could have started cooking on it at any point. If you want to slow this fire down at any point, you can just kind of fill in the ditch that's underneath it, and that will slow the air from coming up through the center and slow the burn down. At about an hour into the burn, a little over an hour, I decided I'd do a boil test. This is 2 cups of water in an aluminum pot. Now granted, this is running at full steam with the ditch not filled in at all, so this is the hottest this fire will get. You can see already that the water in the pot is starting to move around, and I decided not to cover this because I wanted to see how fast it would boil uncovered. Now my grate is a little bit off, so it's spilling a little water into the fire. And you can see that the time to boil for 2 cups of water is just about 2.5 minutes, a little under 2.5 minutes. Very impressive. Now here you can see that I've moved the pot way over to the side, and this is actually about a half hour after the boil test. You can see the pot is simmering, but actually maybe it's boiling. So it's still very hot. Here I'm removing the grate, which is also very hot. You couldn't see it, but it was glowing red. Again, I could have slowed this burn down by filling in that air intake ditch, but I wanted to see how long it would last. At this point, I think we've been burning for about 2 hours, maybe a little bit more. Still very impressive. You can see the first signs of flame coming up through the wood. This view is from about 3 hours into the burn, and you can definitely tell that the flame has consumed most of the logs and is now working on the outside. At this point, it wouldn't matter if you closed the ditch up or not. There's plenty of air coming in from around the unburnt logs. Another great attribute about using this Swedish Torch Cage is the fact that the fire is self-contained. Little to no ash, embers, or burning wood actually go outside of the circumference of the cage. There you just noticed 1 or 2 leaves caught on fire. But other than that, this fire is very safe. Overall burn time of this was about 4 hours, including the relatively usable coals. At any point throughout the burn, you could have added more wood to lengthen this burn. I'd like to thank you for watching me build an awesome campfire. Goodbye.